Oh, wow.
Chris Eubank Jr. just broke the internet without throwing a single punch. That haunting image of him wrapped in heat sheets, a towel covering his face, his body still, his soul tested. It hit harder than any knockout. And now, the same. Voices that hyped this fight are calling him soft. But let's be real, this isn't weakness, this is war. This is what sacrifice looks like when the cameras are still rolling, but the world has already turned its back.
Can we stop with the fucking narrative of it's tough? He's tough. He's tough for everybody.
Hearn wants to turn a missed weigh-in into high drama, acting like it's the final blow to Chris Eubank Jr.'s career. But let's be honest, missing weight doesn't define a fighter. Their will does. While Hearn's slamming the panic button, Eubank is locked in on the bigger picture. He didn't come this far to be derailed by a single moment. He's battled through worse and remains standing tall, while Benn scrambles for distractions to cover his own shortcomings. Throwing shade might make Benn feel like he's gaining ground, but really, it's a desperate play to mask his own flaws. The truth? Eubank's still grinding, still fighting, and still destined to rise.
Process, this 48 hours is very hard for Eubank. And then tomorrow night, it's going to be very hard for my man in there having a fight with a much bigger man.
Hearn says these 48 hours are a nightmare for Chris Eubank Jr., but let's be real. Eubank thrives under pressure. Hearn can talk all he wants about the challenge of facing a bigger opponent, but Eubank doesn't fold when the odds are against him. He rises. While Hearn tries to turn this into a crisis, Eubank's been scaling far bigger mountains his entire career. Meanwhile, Benn lurks in the shadows, waiting for a misstep. But Eubank isn't fazed by the noise. He's focused and ready to deliver when it counts. If you're still with us, make sure to like and subscribe. Now, as Eubank steps into the fire, let's hear what Tony Bellew has to say.
It's unfortunate that he's not made weight. It poses no advantage whatsoever, 0.5 of a pound. I just know how hard it is for him to would have been to get that off. He can't. His body's gone.
Tony Bellew delivers a brutally honest take on Chris Eubank Jr.'s weight saga, cutting through the noise to expose the truth. Missing weight by just 0.5 lbs gives no real advantage. In Bellew's eyes, the real story is the unimaginable agony Eubank must have gone through trying to shed that last ounce. He paints a stark picture of a fighter whose body had completely shut down, with no room left for miracles. Bellew makes it clear. This isn't about a lack of effort. It's about a brutal physical collapse. The toll of the weight cut is real, and it's something no fighter can simply shake off.
Who can handle the pressure and who's a better boxer, and that's Chris Eubank Jr. every day of the week, and I cannot wait to put this to bed on Saturday.
Shalom comes out swinging in full support of Chris Eubank Jr., making it clear that when it comes to handling pressure and displaying true boxing skill, Eubank stands head and shoulders above the rest. There's no hesitation. Shalom firmly believes Eubank Jr. is the superior boxer every single day of the week, no questions asked. His excitement for Saturday night is electric, not just for the spectacle, but for the opportunity to silence the critics and settle the debate once and for all. For Shalom, this isn't just another fight. It's a statement of dominance, a chance to prove that Eubank's composure and class under pressure will leave no doubt about who the better man truly is. And interestingly, Dave Allen shares a similar sentiment.
I don't agree with hydration clauses. I don't agree with I don't agree with bringing this fella down at 35 years of age and saying you must weigh this on the day.
Dave Allen doesn't hold back as he slams the weight and hydration clauses imposed on Chris Eubank Jr., calling out the dangers of forcing a 35-year-old veteran to drain himself just to meet unfair conditions. For Allen, this isn't about missing weight by a sliver. It's about compromising a fighter's health for a cheap advantage. He sees it as a disgrace, something that has no place in the spirit of true boxing. The real fight should be settled by skill in the ring, not by weakening an opponent before the first punch is thrown. With Eubank now clearly drained and vulnerable, Conor Benn smells blood and he's ready to go in for the kill.
I'm supposed to look scared or intimidated or, I'm neither. And I'm just looking forward to Saturday night.
Conor Benn remains unfazed and unshaken amid the chaos of the weigh-in, making it clear that fear and intimidation aren't even in his vocabulary. He refuses to be drawn into mind games or drama, carrying himself with a calm, focused ruthlessness that signals real danger. There's no hesitation, no doubt, just a burning hunger to make a brutal statement on Saturday night. As the tension in the air thickens, Benn stays locked in, eyes fixed on the fight, ready to unleash hell when the bell rings. For him, it's simple. No fear, no retreat, only war. His unwavering confidence is matched by his trainer, Tony Sims, who fully backs Benn's mentality and believes he'll silence the doubters when it matters most.
There is what 99% of fighters do, to make weight. And as I said, he's made it in the last 4 or 5 fights, the 160 limit. So he knows what he has to do.
Sims
to make
stands
that weight.
firm in defending Conor Benn's weight-making strategy, emphasizing that his approach is standard practice for 99% of fighters. He highlights that Benn has consistently hit the 160 lb mark in his last 4 or 5 bouts, proving he's more than capable of handling the demands. Sims stresses that there's nothing unusual about Benn's routine. His fighter knows exactly what it takes to meet the weight requirements. Confident in Benn's preparation and discipline, Sims believes it will all come together on fight night, regardless of the controversy surrounding the weigh-in. Echoing that sentiment, Spencer Fearon also defends Benn, underlining that proper preparation is the key to success in the ring, and Benn has done the work.
Is when it's come to the jumping of weights between welterweights to middleweights. It's never really favored. But it's clear.
Spencer Fearon offers a candid take on the decision to move up in weight from welterweight to middleweight, acknowledging the risks involved and highlighting the real challenges that Conor Benn faces as he prepares for his fight against Chris Eubank Jr. Historically, fighters who have made such drastic weight transitions have often struggled to maintain their form, and Fearon is cautious about the potential consequences of this decision. While some fighters have managed to make successful moves up in weight, the odds are often stacked against them. The challenges of adjusting to a higher weight class are significant, and the potential pitfalls are real. Fighters moving up must deal with the loss of speed, changes in endurance, and the added difficulty of facing stronger, more powerful opponents. These factors can significantly alter the trajectory of a fighter's career, and the move from welterweight to middleweight is not as simple as it may seem. It requires meticulous preparation, strategic planning, and a lot of factors to align perfectly for success. Fearon further adds that while some fighters may prove the critics wrong, history has shown that the results of such weight class jumps are often unfavorable. This weight jump is not just a minor adjustment, it's a massive leap, and many boxers have failed to thrive when making such a transition. As Conor Benn steps up to face Chris Eubank Jr., serious questions have been raised about how well he will cope with the shift in weight. The prospect of moving up to middleweight and facing a seasoned opponent like Eubank, who has been competing at this weight class for years, presents a unique set of challenges. The weight shift brings with it a range of difficulties that Benn must navigate, both physically and mentally. Eubank's experience in the middleweight division gives him an edge, and Benn's ability to adapt quickly to the increased physical demands of the higher weight class will be critical. He'll need to adjust his style, his approach to training, and his overall mindset to ensure that he can handle the increased size, power, and physicality of his opponents. Fearon's analysis makes it clear that this fight is not just about who is the better fighter, it's also about who can adjust to the new weight class better and more effectively. A fighter's ability to cope with a higher weight class can often make or break their career, and Benn's move up to middleweight will be a defining moment for him. The move from welterweight to middleweight isn't just a physical challenge, it's a mental one too. Fighters must be able to handle the pressure of dealing with stronger, heavier opponents, while also maintaining the same level of skill and technique that got them to the top in the first place. In Benn's case, his mental toughness and fighting spirit have always been praised, but it remains to be seen how he'll cope with the bigger, stronger fighters in the middleweight division. He's known for his aggressive style, quick hands, and high work rate, but these traits may be less effective against bigger and stronger opponents. Moving up in weight requires a fighter to adapt to a new pace and rhythm in the ring, and Benn will need to make those adjustments if he wants to succeed. The history of fighters making such weight jumps is not filled with success stories, but that doesn't mean Ben is destined for failure. His preparation, commitment, and willingness to push through the challenges will be key in determining how well he adapts to middleweight. While the odds may be stacked against him, there is always the possibility that Ben will prove the critics wrong, just as some fighters have done before him. However, the reality is that the move from welterweight to middleweight is one of the toughest transitions in boxing, and many fighters who have made that leap have struggled to keep up with the demands of the higher weight class. Ben's decision to take on Chris Eubank Jr. has raised serious questions about how he'll cope with the weight shift. Eubank's experience and power in the middleweight division are undeniable, and Ben's ability to cope with the increased size and physicality of his opponent will be a major factor in determining the outcome of the fight. The mental and physical toll that this weight jump can have on a fighter's body cannot be underestimated, and Ben's preparation will be critical in ensuring that he can perform at his best when the bell rings. The fight between Ben and Eubank is more than just a clash of two fighters. It's a test of Ben's ability to rise to the occasion and prove that he can compete at a higher weight class. The weight issue is just one of many factors that will come into play on fight night, but it's one of the most important ones. Ben's ability to handle the physical demands of middleweight, adjust to the pace of the fight, and use his skill to overcome Eubank's strength will determine whether he can succeed in this new weight class. It's a daunting challenge, but if Ben can adapt and rise to the occasion, he could prove the critics wrong and make a successful transition to middleweight. However, as Spencer Fearon points out, the history of such weight class jumps suggests that Ben's journey to success in this new division will be anything but easy. The fight against Eubank is a true test of Ben's abilities, both physically and mentally, and will serve as a benchmark for how well he can handle the challenges of the middleweight division. Fans are eagerly anticipating the outcome of this fight, as it will have major implications for both fighters' careers, especially Ben's move into the middleweight division. This weight shift will either prove to be a stepping stone in Ben's career or a stumbling block. Either way, the world of boxing will be watching closely to see how he fares in this new challenge.